Hey everybody, it's Missy again with the Hip Kit Club. Thanks so much for joining me again today. I have a new layout using the 2016 October kits, and I've already pulled out some things that I'm going to use for this layout. Here's the picture that I'm going to use today. My theme for this week is fall, and I live in Florida, so this is pretty much fall right here. You can't even really tell if it's summer or fall, but I promise it was taken on Thanksgiving Day, so technically it is fall, but we don't really have the leaf color changing or anything like that around Florida. Leaves here are either green or dead, and so I'm going to try my best to make this as fall as possible, and I really like how it turned out. Now I've got lots of things picked out. I'm going to use the feathers on that Project Life card. They really jumped out at me, and I'm going to try to make my color scheme go around those feathers. Now, I've also got some leaves already cut here. This is from one of Kim Watson's cut files for this month, and I've already used some white cardstock on the right, and then I've cut a couple with this really pretty wood grain pattern paper, and then I've also cut a few on that really light mint green color pattern paper at the bottom. And so I'm going to kind of mix and match a bunch of these leaves, and then the ones that I cut with the white cardstock I'm going to paint, and I've got a lot of my Shimmers products over there on the left ready to go for that. And I have to say, I really like how this turned out. I think the colors turned out really pretty, and it's a different type of layout for me, I think, because I'm not used to working with, I guess my strong suit is summer, and so when I have to change it up and do fall or winter, it's hard for me because, living in Florida, like I said, we don't really have what I would call a true fall season. We may have a couple days of fall-like weather, but we don't get that really pretty foliage that everyone else seems to get, and that's okay. But anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm using some of the crushed coral textures that come in this month's color kit. It's gritty texture paste. And I'm just using my finger to smudge some on, and I'm not really caring if the grit stays on there. I'm mainly using this for the color. This is the Grapefruit Creamies. That's from the September color kits, and it's a shimmery watercolor. And this is very easy. This is a technique you could do with anything that you cut on your silhouette. I'm not even taking it off the mat yet. I'm just painting it right on. I've been doing that a lot lately, and this is the same mat. If you don't use a lot of water, it's not going to mess up your mat. That pink that I just used was Colorings in Pink Stilettos. We got that a few color kits ago. This one is Glorious Day Vibes. That's from this month's color kit. And this is super messy, no rhyme or reason. I'm just painting on color. I want it to look splotchy. I want it to look two-toned. I want some of the peachy color, that light coral color, the gold, the pink. This is a pink from my stash. This one is a spritz, and it's called Cotton Candy. I want to get some different colors and, light shades, dark shades, going through these leaves, and I spent some time doing this, and they turn out really, really pretty. Now you could do this with any color paints. As you can see here, I'm mixing and matching. You could do this with gelatos or oil pastels, any type of watercolors, or even acrylic paints. No rhyme or reason here. I just want all these colors on the leaves. I'm doing some splattering, some smudging, some spraying. I'm using the brush. And, you can't mess this up, because when you pull these shapes off of the mat, they're going to look really cool. And I like the way this turned out because I'm not using the typical color for leaves. And I think they look really pretty. So I let that dry a little bit. And this was kind of, I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out, but I tried to add in some cool colors here. This is blue. It's a Jenny B. Blue Vibes. We got that several color kits ago. It's one of my favorite blue colors. And so I decided to add touches of that onto some of the leaves, and it turned out really nice. I'm going to add more of that blue to some of those mint color leaves that I cut on pattern paper here in just a minute, because I thought about doing some solid blue leaves, and then I thought, well, I'll just add some blue to these mint leaves. And I'm just using the nozzle to kind of smudge some color on there. I'm surprised I did not knock over any of my bottles of paint. I'm usually pretty good about tightening the lid back on every time I remove it because, trust me, I will knock it over. That teal color that I just used was a Colorings. It's Oh Say Can You See, and that was also from a few color kits ago. Excuse me. I'm adding some of the Glorious Day to the wood grain leaves, and that's a really pretty shimmery gold color. It looks mustardy yellow, but when you spray it, when it lightens up a little bit, it's a really pretty gold color. Alright, so I've got most of these finished. I'm going to start to peel them up, and because of the texture paste, they did, you know, kind of stick a little bit, but as soon as I stuck them down with my little pokey tool here, they peeled up very, very easily. Nothing ripped. And like I said before, it did not mess up the mat. I did pull out my little spatula here just because these weren't 100% dry, and I did have to use my finger to poke out the little pieces of these leaves, but they came out perfectly. And I love how these look. I definitely want to do this more often. You can't go wrong with leaves. So I got all those peeled off, and they're over there to the right, and I'm going to work on the actual design of the page. At this point, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with all those leaves. I did know that I wanted to have some pink and that light peachy coral color, and I wanted to use this Maggie Holmes Gather paper. I think it's really pretty, and I do use a big chunk of it, and I just kind of go for it. I really didn't do any measuring. I just wanted to use it as a background piece. And I decided, since I had all those pretty leaves fixed up, that I wanted to do a white background. This is just some tissue paper from my stash, just to add a little bit of a layer behind the picture. And it's kind of messy and uneven, and that's the way I like it. And most of this pattern paper here is going to get covered up. It wasn't my intention from the beginning, but it just happens, and that's okay. So I'm going to add some white gesso. It's going to kind of fade out some of that pattern, and it's going to get my paper ready for some more shimmers. I'm going to come in with the teal and the blue, since I've got so much pink going on in those leaves, and I've got pink going on behind the picture. I'm just doing this same thing that I always do, the packaging technique here. It's fast. I always love the result of it. I love how it looks splotchy and uneven, but you don't get that brushed look. It doesn't have that forced brush finish, I guess you could say. So I'm going to fussy cut those feathers out, and I think they are beautiful. I love the colors. And like I said before, I use the colors in those feathers to kind of drive the colors that I use to paint the leaves. So I let that dry, and I went ahead and did some stitching. That's gold thread. I just did some straight stitching back and forth at the top and the bottom of that paper, and I also did some gold stitching on some of the leaves, just to add some texture and a little bit of shine. I didn't do it on all of them. So now I'm going to come in and try to figure out, what am I going to do with all these leaves? And I kind of just treat those feathers as leaves because they're kind of the same shape, and they layer really well. This was fun. I think these leaves are beautiful, and you know, no matter if you cut them on cardstock, pattern paper, Kim Watson did a fabulous job designing them, and I think they are so pretty. And I'm loving how this is turning out. I think the leaves made this layout come together pretty easily for me. Once I had them finished, I just kept tucking here and there, and you know, kind of mixing and matching the colors and the style of the leaves, so no two colors were super close to each other, I guess you could say. And I split up the feathers, and I love how that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and very carefully start to glue them down so the leaves don't move. It was kind of tricky, but I got it done. It didn't take much because that Squatch, did I just say Squatch? Scotch quick dry adhesive works pretty quickly. Squatch. Okay, there's your new word for the day. Good grief. I added some foam behind the picture there just to give it a little dimension. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. The only thing I haven't glued down is that little cluster of feathers down below the picture. I'm going to stick that down later. I do come in with some thread, and I'm using a darker teal color. And you can't even really see it from here, but you'll be able to see it in the close-ups later. And this just kind of brings out the teal that I've got going in the background and a little bit of the teal that I've got in the leaves. Look at the dimension. I love how those leaves curl up. That's another good thing about using leaves and painting them is the paper. You know how when you use anything wet on paper, the nature of it is to curl up. And so when you do leaves, they curl up, and that's what leaves do. And so it automatically gives them dimension, and you don't even have to try. I think it looks really, really cool. Now I'm just playing with some embellishments. I'm going to use a little bit of some of the puffy stickers and the wood veneer from We Are Memory Keepers, and a couple of these clear shiny gold stickers from Simple Stories. Those are fun to add to any project because they're small and they look really, really good on white cardstock. And I decided to use that Enjoy Life wood veneer piece mainly because I like the sentiment. It's very simple, but I love the mint blue color behind the word life. It just matched perfectly. Now those are some gold little vine thickers from the Paige Evans, not Fancy Free. What's the other one? Take Me Away. We get those in one of the kits. And I forgot all about the rub-ons. I have to use some of the rub-ons because there are leaves on there that are gorgeous, and so I'm going to use a couple of those here and there. And they just add the perfect detail. And those rub-ons rub on so perfectly. You don't really have to scrub that hard. Scrub. Rub. Hello, it's Saturday night. I promise I have not had anything to drink. I can't speak correctly today. Scrub and squatch. What is up with me today? Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Good grief. Anyway, I added some rub-ons. What I was trying to say is they go on so nicely you don't have to rub that hard. There, I got it right. Alright, so I feel like I have to include the word fall somewhere in my title since this is a fall layout and the photo is during fall. And so I've already got that Enjoy Life there, but I felt like I needed to do something else. And so I'm going to just title this Fall in Florida. And I'm going to use some of those coral puffy stickers that are exclusive for this month's kit. And I'm going to come in with some more thread here, of course. I felt like I needed to add some underneath the leaves there. And that's the same darker teal color that I've got up at the top. Now these little stickers on the back of the We Are Memory Keepers sticker sheet are perfect for a small secondary title or a smaller part of your title. So I'm going to put in Florida using those little wood grain stickers. And I couldn't figure out exactly if I wanted them to go straight or if I wanted to stagger them. I finally just decided to make them straight. And you know, when you're working with little tiny stickers like this, it does take a while to get them just right. And I do go back and stitch through them. And I believe it's going to be finished up here. I do go, like I said, I added some gold stitching through those little letters, and I did add my journaling and the date and a couple more clear stickers. But that's the final layout. I have to say, I love how this turned out. I love those leaves. Those leaves they were so fun to make, and I love how they look. So I highly recommend you try cutting something on your cutting mat and then painting it and then using it. So let me know if you have any questions about any of the kits or any of the techniques that I did, anything at all. And I can't wait to see the more projects you guys do with your October kits. So take care, and I will see you in the next video. Hope you have a great day.